Welcome. Good to see you all here. Good to see you in Cēsis. Good to see you in annual LAMPA Festival in Cēsis tent. Very central, because the topic we're discussing today is very central. EU funds for the future of you. It's 4 of us on a stage, but it's much more of you guys in the audience. And in the next hour and a half, we're going to be here. We'll try to make sure that half of that time is spent you guys shooting questions at us. Hopefully those are going to be good arrows rather than flamey arrows or trying to inflict damage us. So we'll have several things that to help actually just make happen. Alexandrs from Cēsis municipality is now handing you out red and green tickets. Those are red, green, and tickets you'll be able to hand out to us by saying red means no, green means yes. So very clear cut, black and white. In this case, green and red. Again, we're trying to make sure the discussion is lively, dynamic, like it fits a Friday afternoon in sunny Cēsis. So guys, let's make most of that, how the EU funds can work for all of us. By way of introduction, my name is Viestur Selmiņš. I'm the Managing Director at Vefresh Innovation District. I'll be speaking a little slower during the course of this conversation, so don't worry about that. I just want to get through the introduction part. And we will be making sure here that we focus on your needs because European Union is a large investor, huge investor. 50% of all the investment that comes in Latvia and in Baltics, for that fact, Estonia and Lithuania and the house, we'll get to that in a second, comes from Europe. So this is a large investor in the Baltics and has been so for the last 17 years, more than 7 years. How long were we in the EU? 19 years. 19 years. Look at that. 19 years of investment in Latvia. Let's see, how did we do? That's going to be one question. How did we do? Number 2, how can we improve that current situation? And where are we going for the next 19, right? Without further introduction, let me introduce our fantastic panelists. Laila Gercāne, Development and Project Manager at Vidzemes Planning Region. Laila, round of applause, guys. Andreas von Busch, Deputy Head of EC Director General, Regional Policy. Andreas, round of applause. We have Estonia in the building. We have Mayor of Tavai Municipality, Maido Rusman. And we have Lithuania in the house. We have a Deputy Mayor of Akmenė Municipality, Inga Vismanaite. Please. So truly a Baltic panel. That's why the conversation is in English, not Latvian, because we want to be inclusive. And I would assume your Lithuanian is not as smooth as we need to. I had a conversation with Inga, and she could understand everything I said in Latvian. So let's see if we can do that during conversation here. So without further ado, let's introduce each of the panelists. Inga, let's start from you. A short introduction of what do you do in everyday life, professionally, obviously, and how do you relate to European projects? And then we can move on to all the way to Laila. Please, go ahead.
Hello, so my name is Inga Vismanaite. I came from Akmenė district municipality in Lithuania. This is a northern west municipality, and we have a border with Latvia. We are nearly neighbors, let's say. So I started as a deputy mayor, and I am responsible for the investments from EU social affairs, and I am a real coordinator in my municipality. So this is my daily basic work, actually. So this is short introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Inga. Thank you, Akmenė Municipality. Maido Rusman, Tavai Municipality, Estonia in the house.
Yeah, thanks. Hello, greetings from Estonia. At first, thanks for the invitation. It's a surprisingly cool event here. And so I
surprisingly?
Yeah.
You didn't expect Latvia to be able to do something.
Yeah, I haven't heard. It was first time when I was hearing about that LAMPA festival. So,
it was about time.
And I'm impressed. I have worked in municipality quite long already, I think. So we were discussing here, and I was working as a mayor 10 years. And then at the moment I'm also belonging to Estonian Parliament. And then to talk about EU funding, then I have also quite big experience. I have led myself quite many EU projects in our municipality. Our municipality is also a neighbor to Latvia. We have 40 kilometers borderline. And I have to say that without EU fundings, we would have much less of people in our municipality, and then because of different sites, and maybe later we are talking about specifically like different project sites, and we have quite much good experience and also to examples to say. But at the moment, I think I'm not taking any more time.
Thank you, Maido. Round of applause for Estonia. Adjunct from Bush DG General Regional Policy, Andreas.
Yes, hello. I'm happy as well to be here in LAMPA. I was here in winter, was much colder. The night was earlier. And I was there with our commissioner, and I heard about the LAMPA festival. And I said, well, there we have to go once there's summer. And so we are here. So we were very keen in having something organized about our cohesion policy here in LAMPA, to discuss a bit where the money has to go, where we have to invest, what are the public investments we have to do. My name is Andreas von Busch. I'm German. I'm from Lower Bavaria, but for a long time in Brussels now, I think more than 20 years. And I worked previously for Czech Republic and Slovakia as well on the cohesion policy. But since a year, I'm working now on the Baltics and Finland, and I like it very much. I like very much the Baltic culture, the debate culture. I think as well the critical culture, not accepting everything. And I think what I like very much as well is that there were new 3 nations born. Out of nothing, they have built up a capacity, a really strong capacity in implementing our funds. I think it's famous to see how out of nothing in the last 20 years there has been created an identity, a sovereign democracy, and now standing up as well here. It's very symbolic, this festival, 100 kilometers away from the Russian border. I think that is quite impressive to have it and to show clearly what are the values, that the freedom, peace, and respect of sovereign democracy. I have a picture here, quickly. Now I'm not getting it. No? Yeah.
Can you see the screen, guys? No, we can't see the screen.
It's not important.
Andreas, you'll have to use the storytelling technique.
I just wanted to show very briefly what is the investment we are doing and where you are standing. Yes, there we are.
Can you see it now, guys? Someone says yes.
What cohesion policy makes with the countries, and you see a bit where our funds go, and the darker you are, the more you get. And the second picture here is saying what will be the growth which we will provoke with our funds, and you see it's still very dark, and this will be the growth which we will provoke in 2043. So what will be still the effect of the funds we are spending now in 2043? So you see it's quite important what we do. It's important as well for Latvia. We realized, however, that in Latvia not everybody is profiting in the same way. The more you go to remote regions, the more you are not tackled by our policy. And we want to change it. We want to hear, of course, as well what you think about it. I have another picture. This is the one who gets what, and what is the public investments you are covering with our funds. And you see in the Baltic states it's more than 50%. So it's quite important at the moment still for the public investments. Other countries have less, but they are mobilizing much more the private sector. So they give little funding, give a big incentive for the private sector, so that they get a rent as well from the private sector for this funding, which is very important for us as well. But we will discuss this, I'm pretty sure, in all detail. And I hand over now back to our moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andreas. I think this is a sort of a long-term aspirin. We're having the funding right now, but effects are coming in 10 and 15 years. Right? So it's a long-term effect which we're not seeing yet. Thank you, Andreas. Laila Gertsane, Development and Project Manager at Vidzemes Planning Region. Laila?
Yeah, hello. So I'm a local one. I mean, I'm from Vidzen region administration, and thanks to Cēsu, is the most beautiful city for welcoming us in this beautiful festival. And also thanks to the sun's god for the beautiful weather, I should admit. And but I'm originally a microbiologist by my profession, and also environmental manager. But for the last almost 20 years, I'm in project business. I mean, I'm working in the beginning with the local municipality, with development issues and projects in local municipality, and the last 15 years I'm working with the regional development projects in our administration. So I have started with the pre-accession funds, with FARE funds, and I have really overseen the development of funding process in the EU, in the cohesion policy. That's it from my side.
Great. So this is an introduction. We have the old Baltics in the building. We have Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and we have somebody from Brussels to make sure that we're on a track here, guys. But again, this is going to be making sure that you are on track as well. It's more of you guys in the audience, more brains. Whatever you take, it's more brains than here on the stage. So that's why we have, you can see the QR code in the back for Slido. So please, if you have any questions, scan the code, send us code. I'll be seeing the questions here. They're anonymous. So you don't have to do the crazy thing. Vote at number 3. You don't have to stand up. You don't have to use the mic. You can just shoot the question anonymously. If you want to do that, please do that as well. You can always stand up and interrupt this in the middle of a conversation and ask a question. We'll have the green and red cards for you ready. That's coming in a second. And we'll also have another round of discussions during the course. Before we do that, we are going to have 3 sections for our conversation. Just to repeat that, what impact has it made this far with the funding? That's going to be number 1. Second, where are we right now and what improvements needs to happen so we more are on the same page, both those who have much and those who have little. And third of all, what's next in the next couple of decades for us, and how do we make sure that everyone gets to have a say in where we're going? Okay, so 3 stages. Let's start with the first one. Akmene, Tavai, and Cēsis. So let's start with Inga with the first question. What have been some of the investments in Lithuania and perhaps more in Akmene that you could say, well, this was the biggest difference, sort of when you go to hairdressers, before and after of the cohesion funds, and how did it help you to address the challenges you have in the region?
Okay, so probably I would like to share one example with you. When we have, in the previous funding period, we had a plan, because, you know, Akmene is like an like 70 years old town, which has these Soviet blocks. And they are not attractive anymore for young people to live in. So we decided that we have to do something to change the face of the town, to change the quality of life. So the decision was made that we have to reconstruct, to invest more in infrastructure. So there was decided that we will make a renovation, but renovation not for only a couple of houses, but one area was chosen, area of blocks. And it was like all the area of blocks were renovated, and this means that after this investment, the price of one flat has risen about 3 to 4 times. So this was the best example. And now, at the moment, it is the best and the most and the nicest area to live in Naujoji Akmenė, for example. All young families who is coming to live, they want to buy a flat over there. This means this is very good. But also we faced some challenges. For example, we also refurbished some social houses, let's say. We thought if we will make better conditions for social people, maybe this will somehow will help them, and we won't have so many of these people in our area. But it never happened actually. even though we have like nicely renovated, redecorated social housing, but we still have those people. I mean, that number didn't increase. So this means maybe this was not the right investment. I don't know, but we are learning, trying, and doing. So this is our experience. And right now, when I looked at the statistics of the last 3 years, we are not like doing any like very, very big now. We are concentrating now more on smaller, let's say, investments. And over last 3 years, we had about 2 million of EU investments.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Maido, the case, again, similar to Inga, give us a bit of a context. Maybe not has everyone been in Tarva. Torva, is that correct how to pronounce it?
Turva, yeah, almost.
Almost there.
At the end of the discussion, I think you're fluently.
Great. 4 or 5 tries and I'll be Torva. So give us a bit of background of the size and the scale and geography of Torva, and then what the investments have made a bit of difference. And you can say, well, there's a sort of a before and after of investment.
Yeah, about Tõrva municipality size. So it's when a little bit. We had also municipality reform 2017, and after that reform, we have in Estonia 79 municipalities. Average municipality size is 8,000 inhabitants, and Tõrva municipality size is 6,000 inhabitants. But it's quite a big area, so it's 700 square kilometers. So this is the I think Estonian like speciality that we have a lot of land and quite less of people. So and yeah, as I said, we are like close to the Latvian border. We have borderline and also Valka. Maybe you have heard about Valka here also, that we have 26 kilometers to Valka. Different projects, but one of my favorite one. Because I'm, as a mayor, I have worked quite much to deal place image. Because when we are thinking why people are staying or going away, especially young ones, it's like so that what is the place image as it is? Like, you know, is it young people are going away and then saying that, I would like to come back when I'm ending the like university, or we are going that, it's good that I was like getting away and it's like a bomb hole. And I think everything starts from the optimistic, and that's why I'm believing that the investments for the public space is also very, very important. And we have example that our town center was like 15, 20 years was like totally mud hole. And then we searched like a solution how we can renovate it, because it's like a business card. And somebody is coming to your town, and then you are talking that come, and then you are seeing that it's muddy, and this is the first impression. And also people who is like you can't say to citizens that renovate your house.
It's a brand.
Yeah, it's a brand. And renovate your house, because when the public sector itself not taking care about. And then it was a possibility that 2017 we started to renovate. We had the Estonian 100-year anniversary 2018, and it was the directly in that date we opened that new town center. But why I'm saying it also in positively, this kind of positive investment turned like businesses who was next to it started to renovate themselves, and you know it's like injecting the positiveness, and then it rises also the feeling the citizens that it's perspective place, it's good to live here, it's good to investment, it's secure. And I think the main thing for municipalities also to rise the like optimism for the entrepreneurs and also the citizens who is living there, that it's worth to invest here. It's nothing anyway. The inhabitants number is going down, but it's not lost. Everything is possible.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maro. I think it's interesting to see that housing has become a vehicle for optimism almost here. And I think this is an also issue of Cēsis. We'll get to that in a second. I've lived, my parents had a summer house back here. And Cēsis was a thriving city in I would say 90s. and early 2000s, and then there was a drop with a huge crisis, and a lot of people left Cēsis. And then in the last, I think, 5 to 8 years, Cēsis has a renaissance. And again, because in many ways the quality of life in public space has improved so much. So I think it's really quite a bit of a story that you can do a lot with what you do in public spaces and what you can see. Laila, the investments done in Cēsis, can you perhaps name a few projects that made a difference and address the challenges you have in Cēsis?
Okay, the first of all, maybe I'll talk about the Vidzeme region as such. About Cēsis.
And Vidzeme.
I definitely, particularly in Cēsis, I would admit the concert hall, which was built and established due to funds of EU. And it is, I think it's really very good, prominent place to be there. And it's very attractive and because Cēsis has a lot of artists and musicians living here and also in Vidzeme region. So the professionals are benefiting and also inhabitants are benefiting. And it attracts not only art and creative industries, but also businesses, other type of businesses serving guests of the city. And talking about the Vidzeme planning region, we talked a little bit with a colleague before about our region covering almost a third of the country. Of territory of the country, but unfortunately, it's pleasure that we have only 15 plus minus 15 inhabitants per 1 square kilometer in whole region. We are like Estonia. You're right, and it means there's delivering of services and connectivity of people, connectivity of businesses. It's a very huge problem for our region. And we experimented in order to improve the public transport services in our region. We experimented the transport on demand approach in the region. We have 2 places of experiments. And for almost 1 year, we established the system that on the call, you can order a small bus. And when the calls are all received, then the system make the shortest way to pick up all the citizens and bring to the places where they need and then to bring back. So, and as we managed very, very well. And it is, I think, because we really went to every farmstead, to every house in the forest and asked them, what are your particular needs and where you need to go? And if you are in 7 kilometers from the bus stop, so I think it's just unfair than someone in the center of Riga, for example, they can fly where they want and they can go by train where they want, but it's not for people living in a deep countryside. Okay. And so we succeed well, and now this we even managed to put this question for the discussion in our parliament, and parliament decide to invent a new regulation for such kind of on-demand transport. And this discussion's not ended yet, but I hope, and as you said, it takes time. Very often you don't get immediate result.
Great, so on-demand transport, I think very modern. Very modern. We didn't have that in Riga, and culture facilities. A lot of people have actually went to the conferences here. Thanks for Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. In this case, guys, this is your time. We promised that you're going to be engaged here. You have the beautiful green and red cards on your hand. Everyone has them? Great. So we'll have to do a little terms and conditions, guys. You know, when you go to a website, you always have to pay terms and conditions. T's and C's apply, right? Similar here. We'll have to be fair. For this exercise to actually work, you have to be fair. So if we'll have a question and you have to raise up a hand by saying that you agree, which is green, and if you disagree, it's red. So if this has to work, let's make it fair. If you don't agree with the idea, you actually show the red. So don't make it nice for us, because we're basically Europe sitting here. That's not going to work. It's basically going to be a theater. If you actually disagree with the proposal, and I'm going to read it out, right? Or you're going to have on a screen, then you just show the red card. And if you agree, you think it's more likely yes, then you show the green card. If no, then it's going to be a red. Shall we do that? Before we do that, let's make sure who is in the building. People who are from Latvia, raise your hand. Right. People who are from Cēsis, raise your hand. Right. So this is not a Cēsis tent, actually. So there's not going to be skewed vote. People from Riga, raise your hand. Great, fantastic. People from, I'm not going to name names, but Latgale, anyone from Latgale? Great, fantastic. People from Zemgale? Nobody from Zemgale in the house. Oh, there was one, a very shy hand. Don't shoot. Kurzeme in the building, fantastic. We have everybody in the house. Right, now let's move on to business. We're going to have questions. I'm going to read them aloud. We're going to have them on screen as well? No. Yes? Can you see the screen? Anyone can see the screen? I can't see the screen. Can you see the screen? Yeah. Yes. It's a Latvian yes. It's like, yes. So very shy yes, usually. So, guys, we have 5 questions. I'll give you about 20 seconds to read the question and then think about that and then raise. And again, don't look at what other people are doing. This is you. You do the vote. This is not your husband, your friend, your partner. You do the voting. And if it's a green and you think it's red, do whatever you want to do. So first question is about effectiveness. Do you think that EU funds have helped Baltic states to converge with the rest of EU? Converge is a €5 word. It's a difficult word. Have made us more like the Europe or no? So generally, do you think it's a yes or no again? I see some greens. I see some shy reds. Shy reds? Right, so I think this is more like a green. All right, again. Yeah, well, again, but no skewing of the audience. Let's make it objective, right? So this was a green. Now, question number 2, we voted. Do you think about relevance? And again, you guys do the voting now. Have the Baltic states spent money on addressing the real local needs? So actual problems you guys think are relevant. And again, just real votes, real thinking. If you think it's a no, then say it no with a red. Yeah, I see some reds. Let's have some diversity in the house, shall we? Some reds in the house, some greens in the house, and some no voting as well, guys. We're not singling out anyone. If you vote red, it's fine. We don't know where you live. We don't know where you work. I don't know your personal code. You're safe. You're going to be safe here. So again, let's try another one. Let's move on. Are the EU funds spent well in terms of value for money? So have they been efficient? No. Wah. Right? I see some reds. I see more reds rising up. Is this a red ocean or blue ocean? Okay, I see some greens, and I think this is 50-50 situation. Right, let's move on. This is not a truth ministry, so no rights and wrongs. Added value. Has the amount of EU funds that Baltic states have been received has been enough? I think it's a clear no. Right? Score. Oh, obviously, I'm not skewing the audience, I think, but I think it's pretty clear. It's been great, but I think we can do better than that. Last but not least, coherence. Do you think that he's a part of the conversation too? Do you think that EU investments fit well with local activities? In other words, municipality is going that way, and funding is going that way. Do you think that the funding and municipalities' plans are going the same way, like a partnership? It's like 50-50. We should have a yellow, right? Typical Latvian. I want a yellow, man. I want a yellow. Where's the yellow? It's like I don't know. Kind of yeah, kind of no. Right. So we have some greens and we have some reds. Fantastic. Right, guys. We'll have a couple of those. Of you do the voting. Right. We'll have some more questions going on. To ask the audience, and you can jump in. You can jump in questions in a Slido as well. We're halfway there. I think we'll get going. What do you think have been the main challenges? Again, I'm looking at cities, but Andres, you can jump in because you have the experience as well. So this is not going to be just cities as well. What do you think? So we're moving on. What's the challenge state, or where are we going with issues? And again, Inga and others, guys, jump in as you like. What do you think have been the main challenges in implementing your funds? Who wants to go first? Main challenges in implementing the cohesion funds in your municipalities, in your region, or you can go wild and say in the whole Estonia. You woke up at that. You like that, all right? You think you want to speak about whole Estonia, not just about Tarva.
Yeah. So I think the main challenge is, one question was like so that municipalities are going there and funding is...
Happens all the time in my experience.
Yeah, so and this is, I think, in one side you have to make something universal to the, like you can't like go so like when, as I was saying, that we have 79 municipalities and you are doing special program for 79 municipalities in Estonia, so it's not thinkable. But sometimes I think the gap between the like needings and the fund conditions are like too big, and then you have to like start to figure out. For example, I'm telling the example, the same town center renovation project. So because the fund result numbers was like so that how many new workplaces have created, yeah, because of after that investment, and then you imagine yourself like so that what exactly you can promise, how many new workplaces can concretely create public room renewable. So and then you started to, and they asked that the institution who was giving the money was asking concretely, please the list. What kind of workplaces and what directly and when, and then it is like so that no, you have to be quite creative, yeah. And that there is like I think a little bit, I don't know where it is it like our inside, like you know, we have also very good officers, you know, Estonians are like taking it very seriously and then turning over all the rules also, and then a little bit don't understand where
very diligent.
Where it is it like our governmental level, or is it like coming up from the Brussels, like so that those requirements, but time after time it's like a little bit the same point that fund conditions are going there, municipality plans are going there, and then it's like forming, and sometimes it's not going also, and then have to give back some money. And
okay. So Inga, Andres has a microphone in hand, so I think that we have got a comment here, shall we?
I think one big challenge is always to spend the money in time. And it's because of us that it's very complicated, because we have a lot of procedures, we have a lot of rules. So this makes it complicated, and it's not necessarily local rules. It's European rules, it's compromise rules, and so on. This makes it complicated. And what we have then very often, that we have to spend too much money in the end of a programming period. And this is not always spent in the right direction, because you have to spend it quickly. And I think what I saw from the cards is that it's not always spent rightly. And I think very much to the end we're coming and say, look, we go now, we simplify here, you can spend it for large enterprises and so on. While in the beginning we were thinking about small enterprises, we want to push for innovations, we want to get research innovations and so on. But it was too complicated, and then we said in the end, okay, go for that. I think that is a big challenge, and I don't know what to change. Our procedures, or I don't know what you think.
Anyone wants to pick up a challenge? So what's changed in terms of those difficulties? Anyone wants to address that? Ooh, difficult.
Maybe I'm jumping in that point. Like, what is the point that at the beginning the plan is good? Like, let's make a plan how to make a plan, and then it takes so much time. And then to in real doers, they don't have so much time. And like you know, Brussels wants time. Ministries wants time, but those who is in real working in projects, they don't have any more time, and then it's like so that you have only like 2 years left, and then it's like you have to be very quick, and then
running around.
Maybe that planning time to maybe start to involve more those who is really doing, and then to split like normal part to everybody.
Okay. Lila?
Yes, I would like to agree to both of you. I see really the same challenges from my perspective, and really it is over-regulated. We have local regulation, we have national regulations, we have EU regulations, and it's a real jungle of regulations. And you should be able to cope with all those regulations, and it takes time to understand what is meant by every sentence and so on. But how to avoid this? I don't have a real recipe for it, but maybe we should do more. Short piloting, not so much regulated, to test on a small scale the solutions, and then scale up them to work in more agile way, because the world is changing very fast, and we have new situations. And especially in this new programming period, when we have the structural funds, then we have just transition fund, and we have different regulations for those funds. It's going to be really very tough. I mean, this new programming period, and I would suggest to try more agile way of implementing, having small experimentations, testing on small scale, and then introduce to the whole country. For example, as we had very famous experience with the health IT system when it was established across the country, the whole country system, and it's not like what we would expect. So, to be more agile.
Sorry, just think a second. We have 4 questions. Those of you who are writing either in Slido or from websites, we have 4 questions. So I'm just doing the justice for that. Those questions are dealing with how important is ESG for European funds. We'll get there. That's an amendment. We have a question regarding the future of e-investments. We'll get to that too. So I'm just putting out there, whoever sent the questions, we'll get to those questions. And last one, we have a question regarding how do we make sure that local inhabitants are involved in judging and deciding where that money is going. We'll get to that questions in a second part of our debate. So I'm just putting out there. We've received the questions. We'll get them in a second. Inga.
So I just wanted to add that not only implementation is the problematic, when it's municipality, sometimes smaller municipalities even cannot get funding because they cannot compete with the bigger ones. So
now we're talking, Inga. This was the backdrop conversation I was waiting for. This is the big question. So the guys from bigger municipalities like Tallinn, Kaunas, Riga are in the same pot as 5, 6, 7, 15,000 people. The same pot. And obviously, Tallinn is fighting with Helsinki, and Vilnius is fighting with Warsaw. They're not fighting with Akmene or Cēsis for that matter. One size apparently doesn't fit all. That's a logic. So do you think that in terms of challenges, there should be a track for smaller municipalities and specific needs those municipalities have? When compared to, I don't know, cities that are trying to deploy autonomous cars or drone deliveries for food, which are probably not coming that soon to Akmene, from maybe they are.
Exactly, because in Akmene we are still, sorting out how to connect all the region with the local buses, not about of course, the issue for the electric cars are raising as well, but first things first. So
you need roads, for instance.
Yeah, we need roads. We need bus stations. So this is comes first. So this is what I meant. That
Maido, you were more active. Let me say that a couple of hours ago about this issue. Do you want to comment on that as well? For instance, Tarva and Tallinn. There was a little bit of beef going on there. No pressure.
No, I think it's the European funding is also very good tool to lead regional politics. I think we haven't very much worked in our countries in that way, but what we have, I think common, it's like so that people from countrysides are moving to the cities, and those bigger cities are fighting how to, like, I don't know, offer the kindergarten places, school places, but those shrinkling areas, they also have to hold up the public infrastructure, and that is quite big challenge. And I would like very concretely do more like so that when we are saying that those European funding, the main point is also to make Europe more equal. Yeah, we are like more poorer than Germans. We would like to also be more like a Germans, but we are not. But we are planning to be even better. But we need money, their money, and so that's why. But
I like where this going. Andreas, you interrupt when it's getting out of hand.
But also there are people who wants to be like more like Tallinn people. We want to be also the little bit same races. Yeah. Because what is the point? It's people Tallinn and around it. It's 130% of average European level, and then in my region.
Whoa! Did you guys hear that?
130. It's over European average.
So, for the record, people in Tallinn are making more than typical EU capital.
Yes.
That hurts for Latvian, doesn't it?
It's good to hear.
Obviously, it's a joke. It's a joke.
If you speak about Riga, you will have the same result, huh?
Yeah, I think it was the same. When you remember, there was one slide, and in Riga, I did my picture for that too. So you can be proud.
There's a big competition between obviously Latvians, Estonians, and we're always happy that there's Estonia, same other way here. So you're making more than typical capital, and that's great. That's great.
Yeah. I'm saying how much you are like. Give me 5 seconds and. I'm saying
there's nothing better
in Riga. There is 117%.
So you're a little above us.
We are a little bit above.
Right. Always those 10%.
Yes, usually it's 30. But and then but the main point is like so that same here. Yeah, when you're looking the Latvia side, so Riga is 117, but. That next to the Russian border, I'm seeing there is 36%.
Latgale.
So, and this is the point also, I think, what we have to deal with like European fundings. We have to make our countries also more equal. It also, of course, there is like that problem that, when you are like starting to help those poorer, then it may be like so that your like country in generally not growing so fast. Yeah, and then they have to find the balance. But now we are seeing that 4 times difference.
This begs a question, Mairo. This begs a question, Laila, Inga, Mairo. Does this what you're saying means that we should take it easy on Tallinn, for instance, and take it easy on Riga? And obviously, this is a precarious territory. This is thin ice, guys. Very thin ice where I'm moving right now. But I don't work for you, so I can do that. This is thin ice. Does that mean that we should make sure that those who have little have more, and those who have a lot, should take it easy for a while now? Are you basically saying that this is one of the questions on the table? I'm not saying this is the case. I'm saying, is this an issue on the table? And Andreas can comment on that. Whether local governments can decide on that. Obviously, we have people in here in the audience. You can raise your hand and say you object to that. Do we give more money to, for instance, Eastern Europe, Eastern regions in Latvia, and perhaps the same case in Lithuania and Estonia? Is this something that you guys are suggesting here?
I think it is, more, and not only more, but if we compare with the capital city, for example, but also for the particular needs of every region. So we have the differences. For example, the nanotechnologies are not the main industry in our Vidzema region, as we are based on bioeconomy and the food sector and wood processing and so on. So the Riga needs perhaps nanotechnologies, but we don't need to invest in this particular field. So there are differences, and the investment programs should differ from for different regions.
Inga, Andreas is holding a mic. I think he's ready. Inga, before Andreas goes, Inga.
I think so. Maybe there should be like municipalities should have some voice, you know, to say what they need, to reflect on that, for example. And then when they can be heard, then maybe with the local governments as well, because I do not believe it's possible, you know, if every municipality will start to to ask for funding straight to the European Commission, it's not possible, it won't work. So, but probably municipalities locally should talk with their governments and then find some solutions.
Guys, before Andres, I have to intercept here. My question is the following, and again, I'm on a thin ice here, but I think it's an important question. So the question right now is the following: should we give more funding to the regions and cities which have less now, which are lagging behind there? And this is a tricky question. Have they not been asking that money for decades? Or they're asking and they're not being given that money, or they just don't know how to use that money properly. I mean, you know, if we're giving them more money and they don't know how to manage that money, I mean, is there something with skill set, with, you know, soft skills, with capacity, with know-how? Maybe it should be both. There should be funding and know-how, how to use the resources more efficient, more driven, and, you know, more value for money, perhaps?
Exactly. There is, we have to address that there is like human resources as well, you know, and someone has to take those money. We have to invest first maybe on the reskilling, upskilling, and people who works in the public sector first, and in the regions to have those professionals who will be able to take those fundings, because this is an issue as well.
Andreas?
I think we need both, huh? Because if Latvia wants to be sometimes in competitive in artificial intelligence and so on, if you say I'm only going to Latgale, you will not find the field for investment there.
Yeah.
You have to find it somewhere, and I think it was worse to find it as well in the Baltic states. But this you will not find there. But nevertheless, you shouldn't forget about it, and you have to build up a good living place as well in these areas. What you need to invest there is probably more expensive, because you have to invest in roads, you have to invest in infrastructure, in good schools, in training schemes for pupils, making attractive living place there. Costs money. Sometimes with little money, but you still have it, you can make the change in artificial intelligence, because you have a company and the company says, I only need 5%. With this 5% I can change the world, but give me the 5%. This one would be the right one, which we should support in the central places. You want to be rich as a German? I think the Germans are not all rich, but there are some which are very rich because they take advantage of these smaller amounts which are allocated between, which are coming as well from the private sector, foreign investments, and so on. But it's clue that we take as well a lot of money for building up infrastructure, for giving a chance to the regions to develop further. Because if we only concentrate around the centers, Latgale in 20 years would be empty places.
So, Laila, any comments? Because I have another question to Andreas in this regard.
Yes, we had already having quite many discussions at the national level. We tried to get right arguments. To look more on, to focus more on internal cohesion of the country, and I hope that you will also to deliver the message to the DG Regio that it is not only the task maybe of on the responsibility of local, I mean the national governments to take care of internal cohesion, but also to push, I mean, from the Commission side to look more seriously on internal cohesion, on equal opportunities for all the citizens, because so I think as far you are living from the capital city here in Latvia, you don't feel actually very much what you get from EU funds. I mean, so you can't see the benefit you are getting from the EU living far from the capital city, and yeah, it's important.
Great, guys. I think it's around for the green cards, right? I think it's time. You guys are getting getting under Facebook. The Facebook allure is coming up. Instagram allure is coming up. Right, guys. Let's put in a little vote here, and it's going to be one of those problematic votes. Again, let's see what you guys think about that. Should the municipalities, or perhaps let's put it that way, the regions who have less right now? We just heard Riga has 117% of typical salary of Europe. Latgale regions have 36%. Okay, 36% of what Riga has. If that is the case, should that mean for the next planning period, regions such as Latgale, or perhaps what would be equivalent in Lithuania and in Estonia? What are the poor regions in Estonia and north, east?
I think in Estonia we have like east part where is quite much Russian speaking, and then what is industrial area. This is the like most poorest, and then like what is that south, and what is the between south and east in English? So it's
the middle. No?
Let's
the middle, basically, the big middle.
Let's say close to the Latvia.
You guys. Inga, anything to say about, in other words, is there a distinct division of development in Lithuania, same as in Estonia and Latvia?
I couldn't name like very poor regions, but of course there is a differences with the cities, capital and another 3-4 bigger towns. So yeah, it's different, of course, and the salary and investment, everything is different.
Great. Let's put in a vote. Those of you who are with us, pick up your cards, green and red cards here. Let's put in a vote. So the question right now is the following. Just imagine you're the role play. You're now in the capacity to decide that. Should the regions which have less, which are poorer, should get more funding than they have right now? Is that a green or is that a red? Or is it yellow? I see some reds. I see some greens. Okay. We can discuss that. Why do you have reds up? Right. Some of you are one way, one another. So it's not a single vote here. In regards, I think this issue will become a vote at some point. Who should decide whether that money goes to those poorer regions or it gets to the richer regions? Basically, Riga has a lot, you'll get more because, and those who have little by way of funding. What do you think should decide that judgment? The cities by themselves, which means a yes, or it goes to the government, which is a green. Which we should decide. All right. So the green means it should be decided by the state. Red means it should be decided by the municipality itself. Okay. Again, different picture. Again, this is how difficult those issues are. So who gets to decide who gets the money? The poor regions or the more well-off regions? I think this is going to be an issue. We'll be coming back because obviously there's only that much money there is, and there are a lot of issues we discussed that how and why those regions are lagging behind for decades. They've been in that picture for decades, and why is that the case? Is something of a mystery, I would say. I think it goes back to skill set, and others say that they've been back for so long that you need more money. Right, guys. Let's anything to add about this conundrum, Inga? Ido? No, it's a closed topic. Andreas?
No, it's not a mystery. If you're living close to the Russian border at the moment. You are not attractive so much anymore. So I think there are long stories why the regions have been turning down, getting up. There are regions in Finland where you think it would be never attractive to live there, but then they have cheap energy because they have water resources, and though they get attractive, even if they're far in the north, they have an airport, people can travel easily. So there are some issues which can change as well. The attractiveness of a region.
Okay.
Maybe I can there's two things also. It's not like so that do you like it or not like it, because now when the world and especially Europe is new situation with security, and I think we have to look also that the regions in defense side, because when you're thinking like so that there is like a lot of people who is living there and who is maybe not so supportive for the EU at all. And then, but from where that defense will is coming, like the main guarantee of defense is citizens who wants to protect their country. But if they are not so happy about, and they are saying that only cool guys is living in Riga, and we have to here live. Nobody cares. Government doesn't care about us. Look at our roads here. And then so when we need to protect our country, it's totally different thing. And then I think it have changed after that. What happened in 2022-24 February. So we have to look it in the other way also. That.
Okay, let's put it in a vote. Again, another issue here. Both Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania all have borders with Russia. This is a matter of national security. Not only national security, it's actually European security. We are the border with Russia. We are the borderline with Russia right now. Do you think that the border municipalities and regions should have more funding because they are borderline with Russia? That's an issue on vote. Okay, reds and greens. Okay, some people say yes. The municipalities and territories and regions which are bordering Russia should have more money, and some say no. Okay, anyone who is brave enough to explain themselves, you always feel free to do that. Okay, so those of you who voted, it's an option. I'm not calling any names. Those of you, if you want to explain yourselves, do that. Right. Let's move forward on our third discussion in terms of where we're going. Let's put it in a vote. So where are we going with the next round of funding, which is going to be our last session for today? Let's put it in a vote right now. And we also have some questions that have been sending in, and I'm going to address that. So again, Slido is up there. Slido is up there. We're going to have 5 questions about, and I'm reading out, what level of priorities, which means areas, should play more important role compared to the current situation in allocation EU funds. So if you think that these topics which you see on the screen in a second are important, then you vote yes, which is green. No means red. So common EU priorities, notably European Green Deal or digital transformation. If you think that's important, yes, that's a Slido. That should be a Slido up there. Do you have there? Can you guys see the screen? Somebody can, somebody can't. You can take a Slido, you can take a QR code and read it on your phone. Okay? Those of you who can't read a screen, pick up the phone, take a QR code, and you'll read the questions on there. Okay? So I'm going to read out loud. So what European priorities such as Green Deal or digital transformation should be a priority? If you think that's a yes, then you raise a card. If you think it's a no, then you say the rest. Oh yeah, you can also vote in Slido as well. You can do that too. Anyone voting on Slido? We can see the results there. Okay, so those of you guys, pick up the phone, take the QR code. You'll see 5 options for questions and vote yes or no. Okay? So what level priorities should be playing more bigger role? So basically when the national government says yes, then that becomes the mainstay. And people who say on municipal level, that's a third of you guys. Green Deal, some of you say that's a yes. Regional development strategies, that's a yes. Local grassroots initiatives. Okay. All right, can you guys see the screen? This is how you voted. I think very much representative of differences in our minds. Okay, so not a clear yes. In other words, this draws a question up to that: who gets to decide about where we're spending the money, right? So those of you want to take a screenshot of that. 1/4 of you think that money should go. Well, it's moving, so a third and a quarter. In other words, the state gets to decide where the money goes. 1/4 of that says you that. Basically, the people on regions and cities should decide that. That's another 1/4 of you saying that. National government objectives, 20%. Municipal level, another 20%, and common priority is only 15%. So from where I stand, it seems that it's somewhere between the government decides where the money is going to be spent, and some of you think it's going to be spent, should be decided on local government, including NGOs and you as citizens. Okay? Right. Do we want to? Yeah.
I have a comment.
Do you have a comment on that?
Yes. If I would vote, I think perhaps I will vote for the citizens, because I think we should start to trust our citizens, our inhabitants, because they are people who knows the best how it is living here, and we should really consult the society, and people should we should make the space for the people where they can deliver their decisions, and probably it could be also we can try to invent participatory budgeting at the national, if we are talking about funds, EU funds, at the national level or even at EU level, to really to allow citizens to make decisions. And just to trust people.
Oh, great. Any comments on that? Power to the people? Mairo? Inga?
I think here it's a little bit like when we are talking about, for example, that last position, Green Deal, and then those European priorities. I think it's a little bit maybe not so easily understandable for people. Also, it doesn't matter when you are saying it's Green Deal. It's like something else, and it looks like so that here is Green Deal and here is my road. But in real, it's not working like so. That everybody is winning in Green Deal, and even that. When we are talking about like Green Deal changes in business, also like all the mentality, it's useful, but that, I'm a little bit saying that people doesn't get wrong like so that we are not supporting those or you are not supporting those EU priorities. I think like so that it needs to like more explain what is behind that.
So what you're saying?
So maybe this is the answer why we should involve more citizens, NGOs, and everyone, more stakeholders, because they will get involved and they will know about and they will know why we need to do that.
But they're not coming out.
But we have to find means how to do that.
That's
this
true.
is our job.
So let me understand. Laila set the scene by saying that we should have more participation in terms of the local citizens because they are smart, they know what they need, and those who are active actually can express themselves clearly. Mairo is saying that it depends on certain subjects. We have to educate people before they can make decisions. And Inga is saying we have to think about methods, how we involve them effectively. Is that something that I sense from this panel?
Yeah, I'm also thinking that it can't go. I'm supporting that logic that the local people knows the best what we need, but it's also like the same thing. Like the picture can't be some kind of like the local politic level, like so that who is offering more. And then I think it's how it was from Henry Ford, like so that when it was asked that. He was saying that when I would do what people was asking, then people would like faster horses, but I created a car. Yeah, it's a little bit the same thing. It have to be some like so that you have to ask what people want, but have to have big, wider picture also, I think.
Guys, we have a real person asking a question. In Latvian audience, that's a rarity, so we have to give a chance for somebody to actually ask a question. Go ahead, please. Yeah. So let me understand. We're saying if we have citizens participating, do you think that that's going to raise a challenge for perhaps some vested interests or corruption? Yeah. But then you have other people, other cousins standing up for their interests. I think it's a decent market competition for opinions. What do you think?
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I just think the corruption is always the threat. And once you divide it, more and more stakeholders.
Absolutely. Right, we have questions, guys. Real questions from real people. Go ahead, please.
I'm not Latvian, so
oh, that's great. That's great. Go ahead.
I'm from Poland,
Fantastic.
Not with Russia, but with Belarus, but I've also seen, the benefits of the EU. Although I personally think that sometimes
Yeah.
benefits that are not to be neglected.
Oh.
Yeah, but so my question would be to the mayors, what would happen if you didn't get any money from the EU? Would the support for the EU dry out? Would still be there? And then also because it's about the future, Imagine we have the enlargement. We don't know what will happen, but then there won't be money for everybody, so we have to share. And of course, it's good if our countries become richer and they can share with the poorer states. But also, I've lived a long time in Western Europe, Brussels and Austria. So the regional policies also causing a lot of bad blood between net payers and net beneficiaries.
Yep.
This is also a political issue. So I also from the Polish debate, I think it's a bit dangerous to leave or let's say to focus so much on the structural funds, on the money that we are getting from Brussels, because there are many more benefits, not only the cohesion policy, the structural funds.
Fantastic. So 3 questions. One is, what would happen? What would happen with local municipalities if the money dried out? Let's focus on other benefits. And what happens if the money dries up because there are other people joining our conversation? Andreas, comment on the previous question regarding
there was this question about
Please do.
if there's too much proximity because it's a small community and so on. I think it's a question of culture. You can have a democratic culture where you don't touch, where corruption is not an issue. If I look here, I worked in larger countries. And in larger countries, you say normally, according to your argument, there should be no corruption. No, in larger countries, there are much more corruption as well. On a higher level, there's corruption all over. That's happening in Bavaria, that's happening somewhere. I think it depends really on the culture. And I must say, what I have seen in the Baltic states, this culture of being correct is quite impressive. The civism, what we have, is quite well developed, because you realize what are democratic values, what makes it. So I think that is what counts. That is what the commitment of the society to these values, that is what really counts. And I think that is very much more important, whether it's big or small. And I must say, the smaller ones, I had a very interesting experience. I worked with the World Bank in Slovakia on a catching up region initiatives. And we had a discussion with the mayors. There you go to the mayors and you speak a bit, what do they need? And it was very interesting to see how much they have changed the priorities as soon as the World Bank was saying, but this is a nice priority, but I don't think it was very intelligently managed. We could do this and that on top of it. You want to have vocational training? Yes, but we start with the companies which are in your territory, and we will ask them what they need for people to come to them. And then we will ask as well, what is the structure here where you can develop something? So this was a completely different approach. And mayors change with this debate as well their focus of investments. And I think it's very important. Local people should decide, I think, very much, and I'm very much agreeing on what the Slido giving on. But I think they need a consultancy as well. They need to be advised to a certain extent as well. There should be experts who have done this all over the world, these investments, and see this works and this doesn't work, which are neutral, which say, we give you the option, but you decide, but I would do it in this way. I don't want to influence you, but I would do it in this way. And probably not me in Brussels, no, because we have our interests as well, that's true. So I think it's good if they're neutral players.
Okay, so I think that we have 3 ideas here, that we should have more participatory component to decision making. We should also invest in people's understanding of what they're voting for. What does it even mean, the Green Deal? What will the just transition? What does that mean? And other, hydrogen, other policies. Then we have digital tools born out of COVID that now you can participate from distance as well, right? And these 3 taken together, I think, set a good scenario and good participation context. Any comments on our fantastic colleague from Poland regarding what would happen with municipalities if EU funds would dry out or decrease substantially? Would the support for EU also decrease? I think that's a fantastic question. And then follow up from that, what happens if really actually that is the case and the money dries up because other countries join in and we get money out of that? So are we going sort of south of Europe with that, or where is that scenario leading you, do you think?
No, I think it's you have to look at it a little bit wider when we are thinking about is it trying out only, I don't know, in some region, or is it trying out like wider, like, because it's the same as the businesses, because we have an open market, yeah, open market for the money, open market for the labor work and everything, and when it is like so that when in one area it's trying out, but other places still getting or growing, then just people are going over, and this is the dangerous when we're taking the same thing about, I don't know, farmers, yeah, like, I don't know, farmers in France getting more like support money than here, and then our farmers all the time saying that, oh, we want to get the equality here, yeah, and so give this the same amount of money, and then this is the, I think, what all the system is doing. When everybody is getting poorer, no problem. When one is still staying rich and this one is going poorer, then we are just going away. People that going more out. You know, like what happened when we joined with the EU, yeah, and so a lot of people was going out. Yes. Exactly, we were going there where is more money, where is better places, workplaces, and that I think this thing also would happen. But when everywhere is happening, what happens? People is still even living in North Korea, and so also not dying.
Inga, Laila, any questions regarding what would happen if the EU money would dry out or would decrease substantially? And then we move on to...
I also agree that there shouldn't be even a reason to think why they should drain out. You know, the system is working. Only we have to make it work perfect.
I think if we will not have EU funds at all, of course we will develop the municipalities and the country. Only the dynamic will be different. So we will make this not in 5 years, but maybe in 10, 15 years and so on. So just different dynamic. But from the other hand, we will maybe be more careful towards what we are doing, how we using funds, because the usual attitude is the funds, EU funds are coming from somewhere from the sky, but actually this money is also our national money. It's money of our taxpayers, money of me and you. Which makes the EU funds. So every country is paying. So it's our money. But yeah, that's it.
Guys,
just one thing. I think we shouldn't dry out a region, because I was speaking once with an American and he said, Alabama, we have dried it out more or less. People moved out, they go somewhere else and so on. You will not have this in Europe. People are really attached to their territory, to people from Cēsis want to stay here in Cēsis. They have family here and so on. They're much more attached to the region. And I think if we leave these people behind, we don't invest in them anymore, it will go against against the solidarity in Europe, against the EU values, because they left behind. They don't identify anymore with our values. So this would be putting very much a lot of values which we put in place into questions. And I think I don't want this, to be honest.
Absolutely. Guys, before we move on to our last section where we're going forward, do you have, just any of you, Inga or Maido or Laila, do you have one example where participation of the citizens or public in general has made the decision quality better in your municipality? Do you have a case that actually did work and it was a success? Where decision-making, where municipality had an invitation from public to participate was a success. Do you have a good case scenario of that, of participatory budgeting, for instance?
Yes, we have tried participatory budgeting for several years at the regional level, but so everything went well, quite well, but the thing was that the budget actually was coming from the national level, and we don't succeed still to convince the national level that part of the budget can be decided by the local citizens. It was the regional culture program where we decided to use this participatory budgeting approach and let the citizens decide of what projects they would like to have to be implemented in Vintema region. So we have still way to go to convince that. Yeah.
Inga?
So we have the same instrument, and it is the second year now. First year was not a disaster, but people didn't understand that they can decide where to spend money. So even some money left without spending. So, but this year it's much better, and we have even a competition, and we had to decide which one can be funded because there is a certain amount of money. So I think so we are getting there.
Great. Guys, time for Slido. Phones out. Let's check our QR codes with the questions. The next questions are on a screen. So this is the last leg of our conversation, where EU funds should invest more. So there's only that much money out there, and where should we go with that money? We'll have those on a screen, so QR codes, and at least mine's, economic development for SME support. There's one, education, skills, science. Another one, transport, which means roads and rails. Healthcare, that makes sense by itself. Social inclusion, climate change, and culture and tourism. So let's start voting. That's a popular vote. What do you think, where should money go? So phones out, QR codes out. Let's start voting. Where should we go with that? Education, skill, and science. That's leading the race right now, isn't it? Climate change is in second, right? Social inclusion, not so much. Healthcare, nobody needs that. Culture, tourism, nobody needs that. Interesting. Okay. Is everyone on there, or just one person on there? Right? Okay. Right now we are racing the education skills, and that's a great priority. I'm just wondering if not a single person cares about transport. Or just internet is lagging behind. Interesting. Right. So just a kind reminder, those of you who have phones, please take the phone out, take the QR code out and scan the screen and do the voting. So we have a popular vote, and where should the money be spent? Well, number one is by far education, skills, and science and research. Right. We'll be walking by our feet or with horses for the next couple of decades, or using the same transport. So that's the people who have voted. Well, not everyone has voted, but it seems that there is a priority there. Now, someone just moved there. All right, we got some more action. Somebody needs healthcare. At least some people are interested in social inclusion. Right. So you guys have voted. If you want to add or change your mind, please feel free to do that. Right. What do you guys say about the results there? Clearly, education skills are underfunded, seems to be, and this is where the people have voted. Any comments on what we're seeing on the screen here? Andreas is ready to go.
The public seem to be very young because healthcare is on a low level.
No one cares about it. Everyone's healthy and fit. They're just coasting along. All right, guys. Any comments, Maido, Inga, on what do you see on the screen? What do you think? Where should the EU funds be allocated? In case of Lithuania, in case of Estonia, Latvia, Laila, you want to go ahead?
Yes. Maybe I a little bit reformulate the question. Maybe to invest not more. I mean in terms of real money, but invest more efficient.
Okay.
More smarter, yeah, precisely targeted, more in an analytical way, not just because I like a nice big building, I can show to everyone this building, but to invest smarter, right?
Okay, Maido, Inga.
No, that.
Where should the money go?
That to invest for the making people smarter sounds the only good way, but usually it's like so that there have to be a very good plan behind it, because it sounds better than it's possible to make it. That's why, of course, it's like, our biggest wealth is our people. Transport, for sure, that infrastructure, like I'm saying, when there is infrastructure, it's possible to build up the around it quite much things. So I don't know, yeah, it's also a little bit climate change adaptation doesn't mean that that it's connected. But I agree, like so how it is.
So, whoa. Do you agree with everything that's on the screen, or do you have any think that, for instance, there should be less money into transport than it is right now? If you would have to choose, where would you go with your funding in Tavai in Estonia? Would that resemble similar logic that you have on a screen right here?
I think so. When it would be a very good plan, when you're asking for me in Tavai direction, then of course I'm more like a harder project guy. Like so that okay.
And by that you mean, when you say harder projects for real people here, what do you mean by hard projects?
Like to make how to say, like I was talking about public space investments, roads, and to create that kind of not the same point. What when we are talking about businesses, like how to create workplaces, and when we are talking about entrepreneurs, we are saying that no. What in real we want that infrastructure would be good, and also even that we are getting money, support money for business is not so important, that we are getting loans for the free market and these kind of things. So it doesn't have to have inside the business model can't write in that you are getting support. It's not the business idea.
Okay.
It have to be like so that like the public sector is creating the place where those who is on the market can deal, and then it's like.
So, what you're saying, Mairo, is that before we move on to sort of high-tech technology, there are certain basic things that need to be addressed in certain parts of Estonia before we can move forward.
Yes.
Which brings us back to the idea that there needs to be not one size fits all, but regionally specific, focused expenditure of money, which is driven at least in part by local, constituencies and planners and politicians and citizens.
I'm totally supporting that thing. What was said here, like I think we have to do those regions that. Smart specializing programs like so to where is involved also local ones, but also the knowledge what we have abroad, what we have the experts inside, and then this I think we haven't done. When we're asking too low, then it's staying maybe like too local side. But I think we have to make that tailor way and then put together the brains what we have to make the best plan.
Guys, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here because there are people in this room even who will ask you this question. Okay, you're saying there are parts of Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia don't even have roads. They don't have proper roads yet. They don't have electricity. They don't have sewage channels. And we're saying we are in 2023. How in the world there are parts of, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, they don't have even roads there? What happened that we haven't been able to do that in 30 years? And why now, in 2024, that we'll finally be able to do that? 1 2 1 2. I'm back. So what makes us think, for those sort of more critical in the audience, that now if we this is on and off. Are we good? In other words, how can we believe that now if we focus on these more impoverished regions which don't have roads or infrastructure properly, that now is the time to invest in that and the money will be spent properly? Can you hear me now? 1 2 1 2. Could you hear me? Can you hear the question? Right. I think I said it three times. I think by now should someone understand the question. It's a simple question. We didn't do it in 30 years. Now we're doing it. Why now? And can you actually pull it off?
Maybe
it's a sort of a critical question. I'm not saying that, but that's an argument out there.
I will start to answer why my colleagues are thinking at the very local level that one obstacle is like those fluctuation when the programming period starts and then coming to the end and prices goes dramatically up, and at the end the kilometer of a road is very expensive. So it's very. I see a real linkage between those, and then for our region, I would say we don't have a critical mass of citizens and of businesses to push national politicians decide to have those investments, because yes. we don't have big multinationals. I mean, big companies. We don't have big mass of citizens living here. So it is one of the reasons, and it is a real bottleneck. I mean, the transport, the accessibility is a real bottleneck for the development of our region.
Inga?
So what I would like to say that probably all the criteria and all the things which we are listed out on the screen, they are good and they are important, and probably we will find in every countries, every region's strategic plans and everywhere, and everyone would like to invest. But probably there is no possibilities, economic possibilities to do everything. And maybe there is an answer that, let's say, at regional level, they will decide, probably maybe for this period, we will focus more, let's say, on skills and education. Next period, maybe more on roads. Not like, you know, to invest only here or here or here. Maybe the decision at the regional level could help, like to move money a little bit around, because they know the budgets, they know the possibilities, and flexibility maybe is the answer, how to use more effectively those funds and money overall, and to make the infrastructure and to keep the people and everywhere, like, because we have to balance.
So what you're saying, it's smarter, it's more efficient, and the stakeholder management is important here in terms of who gets to decide.
Exactly.
Maido, your question of, again, we've had 30 years to do this, and now we haven't done that, and we're given another chance to build basic infrastructure for certain parts of the country. How would you answer the criticism?
Yeah, we haven't paid enough attention to that thing, and we have thought like so that you know that it here is also free market, and then people like staying here. But what we are seeing, it's people are moving away from those regions, and then this like free market in developing just not working here, and that's why I'm saying also when it was before. Talking about that to give those capitals money or no, because what is the difference when we are talking about at all growing like so that, I don't know, when you want to build your residential house or businesses wants to grow, we are going to bank, we are not getting loan because the market price of those buildings are lower than building prices, and a lot of spheres, the real market doesn't work in those regions, and that's why I think need to involve. You don't like put your nose where the market is working. Then I'm saying when you're taking off the money from the capitals anyway, I think in Vilnius you don't have that EU money is not going anymore there, but it's the centrifuge is still like sucking in.
So we're moving in areas where invisible hand is not working. Guys, we're running up discussion. Last 30-40 seconds. The main takeaways from the conversation. Laila, Andreas, Maido, and Inga. Last takeaways from our debate regarding the where should money be spent, who gets to get it, who decides on that, and where it should go.
So my takeaway actually is that we should more cooperate. I mean, Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, especially if we are talking the territories on the border side with Russia. And I'm very looking forward to the changes in the neighborhood instrument. I mean, to shifting cooperation with Russia now, which is closed down. I mean, this cooperation more to Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia cooperation, because we saw that we are really facing the same challenges because of the neighborhood. So yeah, that's it.
Andreas?
I think investments should go to the people who need it, the people which are critical towards the European Union. These are people in remote areas. These are people which are forgotten by society, which have difficulties into the social life. If we lose this momentum, I think it can be dangerous. Europe needs a very strong solidarity at the moment. We are threatened by several elements, and I think we should take this into account when we do our next cohesion policy programming.
Okay, so more efficiency, more cooperation, more solidarity, especially in regions which are impoverished. and need more help. No one's left behind, especially that there's a sort of a issue of propaganda in those regions, especially. Maido, your take on what's the takeaway from the conversation and where we're going next?
I think what we talked about, how to design those fundings and how to make those more like how to say it's not going like so that the needings are here and then the fundings are there. It's that how to like work out the clever like specializing to put those brains in our Baltic states and also abroad, and then analyze what is the problem about when we are talking about next to the border areas. But there is also possibility. There is also pluses in these kind of areas. Usually, it's like so that we are more tolerant to, I don't know, get some factories or industrial things and these kind of like, find pluses and minuses and then design the fundings of that.
Thank you, Maido. Inga, to round it up.
Oh, I will not say anything new probably. So territorial disparities should not be ignored, should be considered, more cooperation, more involvement of the stakeholders, and probably that's all.
Okay. So more cohesion. Nobody's left behind, especially in the national regions which border Russia. More solidarity, especially with these people who are in risk of higher poverty. And more cooperation when it comes to regions themselves. Guys, you've been fantastic. I think we've heard of quite a bit of issues and divergent opinions here from both you guys sitting here and voting for the issues and for our fantastic panel. Let us thank Inga Vismante, Deputy Mayor of Akmene. Round of applause. Maira Rusman, Mayor of City of Tarva. Anderson Bush, the General Regional Policy. And Laila Gretsane, the Vice Inspiring Region. Thank you, guys. You are fantastic. See you probably next year. Another round of applause for the EUKEC coming here next year for LAMPA. Second time charm. Thank you, guys.